Welcome back to CDT, it's your boy Ditto. I'm making another buyer's guide today. Only instead of it being what cars you do want to buy, it's cars you really shouldn't. The Fiat Multipla, you can't avoid buying it, so even if it is rubbish, so be it. But now we get into cars that you can. Why are all my cars on such bad suspension? Excuse me for a moment while I cut the video. I'm done. Let's do this. There, price, set back to standard. Price, you don't want to buy it. You really don't. This is essentially just another Multipla, only you have to pay £4 for it. I only have it. Well, I have all the cars in the game, because I want all the cars in the game, even if some of them are terrible. But I mainly use it for Uber roleplays and jokes. It's really bad. Don't get it. In fact, as a general rule, don't get any front-wheel drive cars. They can't drift. They tend to handle pretty badly, like 5.7 handling on here compared to 6 on the Lada, 5.9 on this VW Beetle. Oh, and speaking of which, VW Beetle, it's a car you don't want to buy. I cannot stress this enough. This is a VW Beetle you do want to buy. This one here. This is one you don't. It's terrible. Don't want to buy the Mini either. Basically, because front-wheel drive cars, they can't drift. Like, look, I'm going to try and do my usual method. It's terrible. Doesn't work. Ooh, what if I try this? Okay. Actually, I told a lie. It's just really difficult to drift them, and you can't drift them like normal cars. Like, have to lift off. And even then, they drift terribly. Hold on. Lift off, handbrake. Oh, and I've spun it anyway. There is one good trick that you can do with front-wheel drive cars. Hold down the handbrake and accelerate, and then start fishtailing it. Very fun. Yeah, avoid front-wheel drive cars at all costs. Another car that you probably want to avoid are the big off-roaders. As a general rule, cars like this, the Hummer H3, you really don't want them. Basically, they're useless. Not only are they big, tall, heavy, they also aren't even useful anymore. They were back in the day of the old map, where we had a proper off-road race, which was actually quite difficult, where you couldn't just take an average car, put dirt tyres on it, and then say, yep, I'm good to go. We had the dirt race for that. The off-road race, however, you really needed something big and hefty like this Hummer. Now we only have the rally race, where you don't need a thing like this. They're big, they're heavy, and they're really not good. Avoid. Another car that you also want to avoid are the big American cars like this. This is the Chevrolet Impala. It's terrible. Not only does it understeer a lot, it's enormous. It's gigantic. The one good thing is it's well designed. And it's the same story with the Bel Air, only the Bel Air is probably the best of the bunch, and the Eldorado. The Eldorado is pretty minging, not gonna lie. Other cars you want to avoid. Aha! Thought this would come up. This is the Toyota GT86. If you do buy this, put it on standard suspension, because this is the standard suspension. don't have it on standard suspension. It is seriously unbalanced. It is seriously unbalanced. I'm going to just turn it through here. I'm going to turn it through here. Look at this. Oh, in fact, I don't even need to curb the wheel. I'm going to drop the suspension onto low suspension. Get it up to speed. 100, 120. Oh, it's rolled. I have suspension mods for it. That's why I still use it slightly. Don't keep it on standard suspension, it sucks. Other cars to avoid. Well, probably this. This is my Camaro. I don't like it. It used to be really good. And then it sort of didn't be good. And now nobody really uses it. Just avoid it. It's not even well designed anymore. They've taken out the wheels and stuff and the stripe. It's disgusting. The Mitsubishi Evo you also want to avoid. This one's alright, but it's also quite sluggish. Actually, it's really sluggish. And unlike this, the Toyota Yaris GR, which is also sluggish, the Evo doesn't even handle as well as the Yaris. The Yaris has amazing handling, this has average handling. Which, when you couple it with the power that I've upgraded it with, is a recipe for disaster. Let's find some other cars to avoid. I'm gonna get a lot of flack from saying this. Don't get the Skyline. It's terrible. Ugh. It drives awfully, like, oh god, lag. I'm just driving it like this. It feels like it wants to slide. It drives very squarely. It feels unsafe. It's terrible. And then we also have, and I'm going to make a special case for this one. I know I said avoid all the big four-wheel drive cars. I'm making a special case for this, the Ford Bronco. This car is a death trap. I've got suspension mods on it. And it bounces. I'm not even joking. Everywhere you go, it's bouncing. I'm going to send it off the... Oh, I missed the jump because it also slides a lot. But whenever you go over something like this bump, here's a bump. See? Bounce, bounce, bounce. It's a little bounce mouse. Not good. Let's find some other cars to roast because you really shouldn't buy them. This one's pretty self-explanatory. Don't buy a Supra. And I should make a special case out of that, but it handles just well enough to stay in the bracket of rubbish 4x4. Some of these cars, oh, for God's sake. I think there's a car around here that you probably shouldn't get. The Jeep Trackhawk. Oh god, mine is horrendous. What did I have it set to? Dark blue. Low suspension. This one's also not... This one is not neither a good track car like it's supposed to be, or a good off-road car, which it also isn't. It's terrible. It's really horrible. Ooh. There's some good things to roast around here. A lot of people say that the G-Wagon is good. I beg to differ. It's mine. I put it on this suspension to try and make it off-roady, because it really isn't. And it's just terrible anyway. I've made a car worse. It even drifts without me wanting it to. That was me wanting it to, but like, also why are the tyres so skinny? You can see it on the standard suspension, like, see? That wasn't the standard suspension. Some of these cars are really terrible. Such as this. I don't like this. This is really terrible value for money. If you want a good police car, get a Crown Vic. To be honest, you'd be better off with a Twizy than that. And there's also... oh god, no, that was not what I was supposed to press. There's also this, the Jaguar F-Type. This car... oh, it does my head in. Not only is it terrible to look at, like seriously terrible, it's slow. Look at how little it moves in these gears. 5th, 6th and 7th are all exactly the same, and they're all terrible. I'm not even going to bother at this point, I can't. The Aston Vantage isn't that good either. BMW M8 and Continental GT, avoid them as well. I've heard people say that the Toyota GT86 drift car is good. Yes, but if you want to corner, no. And then we come to the worst of the bunch, the reason why I made this video. This is the Lexus LC500. And it's terrible. It is awful. There is no acceleration whatsoever. It accelerates worse than the Crown Vic. So you pay about 9 times as much for a car that understeers, is slow, is ugly, doesn't even have a good wide body, despite Foxy putting the effort in to make a wide body, and just drives me up the wall. I bought this car twice. I have the police version as well, but at least that's got an OG wrap. What's this got? Just looks like a great big steaming pile of crap. Because that's what it is. Okay, I might have gone off the deep end a little bit there, but seriously, never get an LC500. Also, don't get a Mustang. This car doesn't handle at all. It handles the same as a handles the same as a Yaris, but it has so much more power that it just doesn't steer at all. Yeah, the water is where this deserves to be. Don't get the Dodge. What is this? Challenger Red Eye? So as well as this not even being as good as a Demon. Oh, and another thing that Foxy hasn't done with this car. Doesn't wheelie. Very sad. It's ugly, it's terrible, just don't get it. And this, it's got a horrible alliterative name, the Ferrari Roma. This is named after Rome. They say all roads lead to Rome. But if all roads led to this, the world would be terrible. Because this is terrible. Rubbish. Ugh, driving me up the wall. And now we get through quite a bit of all the cars are exactly the same. Some that you really don't want. Maybe, oh, I don't know. Oh, a bit of an obvious choice here, but hold on, is the 488 still on sale? 488 police car even? Yep. This does 186 miles an hour and has 7.8 handling. This does 187 miles an hour and has 7.8 handling. They're the exact same car pretty much. Only this one has a cool wide body and a custom wing. It's pretty obvious which one I don't like. The police one. Avoid. Also avoid. Where is it? This, the Aston Martin DBS Superleggera. Why, oh why would you get a Superleggera? Terrible. It's terrible. I'm struggling to find some more cars that I don't like. Because around here is where they start to get good. Oh, apart from one I've just seen. The Celine S7. The handling rating says it all. 7.6. Look, I'm not even joking. This car doesn't steer at all. At high speed, I'm going to get it up to its top speed. Shouldn't be too difficult because it only does 224. No steering! None at all! And it's ugly. Seriously ugly. Just don't bother with it. Also probably don't get this, Porsche 918. Pretty terrible. Although it does have a good handling stat, which makes up for it. Ah, here's a car I've reviewed before on this channel. The Lamborghini Revuelto. And I'm going to prove it to you by doing a lap of the highway race. This car's tuned, by the way. Ah, we've hit the problem. It doesn't move at all. 7th and 8th, it's useless. It's utterly useless. I despise this car. Seriously despise it. Another car I despise is somewhere around here. Where is it? Here. Here's the McLaren Speedtail. 8.3 handling. 250 miles an hour. That's not a good mix. It also, for some reason, has a weird tendency to just randomly start oversteering if you hit grass sometimes. Either that or it'll understeer. Or both. At least it drifts well. And we've pretty much reached the end of the shop. Apart from one more car. It's a really big Fender. I was so excited last year when I got my hands on a Divo, only to be sorely disappointed. It's worse than the Chiron, and it costs 50% more. And at this price, that's a lot. The jump between 5 million and 7.5 million is massive. And the car gets worse. Oh, it's slid. This car makes me so annoying. Thank you all for watching. I'm going to go and calm down now. I don't want to drive this a moment more. Let me get into a car that's actually good. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Bye safely. Don't get a Divo.